Hello and welcome to the Knitting Traditions podcast. My name is Inga and this is my little corner of knitting on the interwebs. I will put links to everything I talk about below, and you can also find me on Instagram as Knitting Traditions. Yes, so it's August. Been working a lot and knitting quite a bit, I must say. And finally finished the longer kind of work bundle of a lot of shifts, so I'm back to normal now. So I'm hoping to be making a lot more things for you to see. Let's start with what I'm wearing today. Let's just jump into it. I am wearing a pattern by petiteknit, the Sunday tee, which has a folded brim on the sleeves and bottom, and this kind of knit purl structured yoke. I knit this t-shirt in the yarn by sandnesgarn, which is a collaboration between sandnesgarn and petiteknit. This yarn is called Sunday, so Sunday yarn for the Sunday tee, and it's a non-superwash 100% merino, I believe. I don't have the tag anymore. I actually bought this yarn at the sandnesgarn outlet, so it was quite affordable. And I don't wear this t-shirt enough. I think I'm just a little bit worried that I will spill coffee or something on it, being a white knitted t-shirt at a tighter gauge, so it was a lot of knitting, but I should wear it more often. I am trying to kind of do this thing with this podcast that every episode I wear a new knitted garment, and then at the end I guess I will run out of garments and see how many it is. But then again, I'm also continuously making new garments that I haven't really worn except for one episode. So then I guess I could start wearing those in the episodes, and we'll see how far it takes us. Yes, this was a lot of fun to knit. You do have to do some purling here, so if you're not a fan of purling, then maybe this is not the t-shirt for you, but it was a nice detailing with the cuff and the bottom hem, which makes a really nice design. And yes, let's talk about our knitting. I hope you're doing well and that you have yourself a beverage. I'm drinking my oats and coffee. I'm a sucker for instant coffees. It's just easy and I like the taste of them. I did try to make my own with almond milk, but it kind of disintegrated when I put it into the coffee. It became like lumps. I don't know if that happens to other people or if I'm just doing it wrong, pouring cold almond milk into my coffee. But yeah, the instant one is better than what I tried to make. Yes, let's get into finished garments. I actually have 3 finished garments to show you. The first one is the outline tank, which is a bit wrinkly because I've already worn it a bit, and it was in my bathroom where I keep clothing that are not dirty but that I'm gonna wear, and I don't like putting clothes that I've worn into the closet, so I keep like a system of kind of in-between garments. And this is knit in wool. Unlike the original pattern, I used yarn that I was gifted from Arctic Crafts, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It has these drop stitch effect all the way down the straps, front, sides, there, and back. I did make my straps longer than in the pattern. I just kind of tried it on to see where I kind of wanted the cuts to be, and knit until it kind of reached the top of my shoulder. It's quite boxy, almost a little bit too boxy for my taste. but it is a great top to wear outside when you want to get a little bit of sun, but it's not super warm. Then this is really perfect. I alternated skeins for the top part of the circular body just to have an even transition, because I needed 2 skeins for the top part. So that's what I did. And yeah, it turned out really well. I still have some left to make socks with, so that's nice. So that was one more summer top in my wardrobe, the outline tank. I don't have a lot of like spaghetti strap tops that I've knitted. I think I have 1 or maybe 2 more to be seen in future episodes. So that was that. And then last time I was also working on the Brise tee by, it's a t-shirt design, but also the pattern gives you options for long sleeves. This is a pattern by Pia from fiftyfabulous. She gifted me this pattern, and she also generously gifted some patterns to some lucky winners. So at the end of the episode, I will put up the names of the people who won the different prizes from last episode, and they can get in contact with me on Instagram, preferably. You can also write on Ravelry, but it might take me a bit longer to respond because I'm not often on there. But yes, this is the Brise tee by Pia. I opted for the short-sleeved arms. I also made the body a bit more cropped than in her pattern. She gives you options for shorter long sleeves, boxy or more tailored body. Still boxy, but a bit, there's a few decreases. And it has this really lovely structured, textured yoke. And I put a little handmade tag in the back just to make it easier when getting dressed to see what's the front and what's the back. And the yoke goes all the way around. I haven't washed or blocked it yet because I knit this in sandnesgarn line. The pattern tells you to use bell, but line and bell is pretty much the same meterage. Line is part cotton, parts linen, and polyester, maybe? I don't have the tag for that either. But yeah, it's a mixed summer kind of yarn. The cotton, however, in my experience, the way I wash it makes it a bit stiffer, so I haven't washed mine yet. But it blocks out nicely with wearing it. The lace pops out really well still, and at one point, of course, I will have to wash it. I don't have a dryer, so a lot of the tips about putting it in the dryer, well, that's not an option for me because I don't have one. So I will just opt for lots of fabric softener and see how that goes. But yes, really happy with how this turned out. It looks cute over dresses or high-waisted jeans. Yeah, really happy with it. And I have one more finished object. I forced myself to bring this to work to finish it because I really have not been feeling the sock mojo lately. I want to make all the garments. But this, I knew that I needed probably just like 30 minutes to finish these, so I brought them with me on call and when I had a little bit of a quiet moment while waiting for patients, because I'm a resident doctor at OB/GYN. I managed to finish the last toe. So these are just some plain vanilla socks made in a yarn that I was gifted from my friend Sue from Craft Knitter 7. It's a local yarn to her. It's very rustic and I picked out a lot of hay when knitting with this. I haven't blocked them or washed them up yet, but they will make some really nice socks for the cabin. very thick and they will be very warm, and I think they will soften up amazingly when washing them. Apparently I knit the second one a bit more tighter than the first one, but that will block out. It's not a huge difference. I knit them top down on like 11-inch circulars, and then I did a rounded toe with magic loop. That's how I usually knit my socks. I did do some decreases in the back. I don't really tend to swatch for socks, so I will cast on a number that I think, and then sometimes I do like 4 or 6 stitch decreases after finishing the cuff. And then I saw that I was still pretty big, so I did another 4 or 6 decreases down the back of the leg. So that actually gives it a really nice shape for a leg that is thicker than a foot, which is my case. So it's almost like a tailored sock. Start big and then decrease until you get what fits. I did a few more decreases on the gusset. So I think I went from 46 to 32 stitches in total. So that's quite a bit of decreases. The leftover yarn is already being used for another project that we'll show you soon. So those were my finished objects. I cast on another top that I have been talking about on the podcast. So I bought this yarn. This is a Spanish yarn, felizy punto solaris, and I had bought 2 skeins. And this color is just, this is my favorite color. When it comes to yarn, the rustic warm tones, definitely what makes my heart sing the most. This is everything. So I wanted to make a t-shirt, and I started making a t-shirt. This is the So Summer shirt by Jessie Maed. Apparently I'm on a Jessie Maed flow, but it's, you know, when you find a designer and they have a lot of designs that kind of fits your aesthetic, which right now is summer tops, and she has a lot of summer tops. So yeah, I wanted to make this. I should have plenty of yarn, should be fine. I finished the front section and I'm now working on the back section. And actually, with this top, I did helical knitting in the round. So after doing this folded over brim, the pattern gives you 3 different options for the bottom, I think. This is actually the same kind of rib, no, not rib, edging as this t-shirt has. So helical knitting in the round, you join the second ball and then you knit almost a complete round, but you stop 3 stitches before the yarn that you left hanging, and then you just slip those 3 stitches, leaving the yarn that you just knit with hanging, and then you knit almost another round until 3 stitches before that yarn you left hanging, and you just you repeat, and that kind of gives an invisible change of yarn. There is no yarn being carried on the back. It's completely invisible, as long as you make sure you don't pull your stitches too hard after slipping them, because then you might get like a line of tight stitches going. So I made sure not to do that because I've done that before and it worked out really well. I can't wait to have this done. I love this yarn. I love knitting with this yarn. I love the color. Nothing beats this color. However, I didn't realize when I cast on that this t-shirt, it doesn't have you pick up stitches and knit a sleeve, like a set-in sleeve. It doesn't have raglan. It has sort of like increases that goes up this, so it's just like a big drop shoulder, and you do this again. And I know from my experience that those kind of drop shoulder designs really is not what I like to wear. I just don't like how it looks on me. But I'm gonna give it a chance because I really love it and I'm almost done. And I'm gonna see, the color might just make up for it. Or maybe just that it's so drapey might make it look differently than other drop shoulder designs that I've tried. So I'm gonna finish it and see, and if I don't like it, I can always rip back. This is a plant fiber. It's silk and linen, so it's no problem ripping back, and then maybe do a different design with a raglan or set in sleeves that are more tailored. We shall see. I'm almost done, so I'm just gonna finish it and see how it looks and then make a decision based on that. But the color, it's just beautiful. I'm usually more for solid colors, but this kind of variation, which is not really speckly, it's just different tones of the same yarn, I think it looks really nice. So yeah, really happy with this whip and I'm enjoying it a lot. So I did the helical knitting for the body and then one skein for the front and one for the front and one for the back, and there really isn't a color difference actually, so I might have gotten away with just knitting one skein and then the other, but it really isn't a lot of it's not a big problem to do this kind of helical knitting. And yeah, I'm using my Lick Needles interchangeable set for these. I really do prefer interchangeable needles. I find it's a lot easier when you're changing needle size. You can change different cords without having to kind of knit it onto another. So I recommend interchangeable needles. It's pretty much all I use. Interchangeable needles and then small circulars. And yeah, I love my knitting stash and all the equipment that's in it as well. I have more works in progress as well. So last time I got a lot of linen quill yarn that I might have bought on a sale online and got a bit overboard, but so I cast on the half and half triangles wrap. Katie Jack's podcast are doing a knit along, so I've been wanting to cast it on, join in on the hype, and I did. And of course, I'm in the middle of a row because I need to spit splice in the last skein of the first color. So I am doing the large version. This is a free pattern by Purl Soho. I'm using their linen quill yarn, which is the yarn recommended for this shawl. And it's getting quite huge. It's 260 stitches, free pattern, so I'm not giving anything away. And actually I watched a friend to knit with and Katie Jacks, because both of them have like a little tutorial video. A friend to knit with, she shows you how to do this kind of I-cord edging, and I must say this was an eye-opener to me, that you can do this simple little thing and you get this really nice edge, or at least I think it's a really nice edge. And all you do is when you get to the end of the row, you slip the last 3 stitches with the yarn in front, and then you turn your work and you just knit. And at the end of that row, you will do a German short row. The pattern gives you instructions to do another short row, but I opted for the German short row as I know a lot of people has. It's my preferred short row, and I just checked out Katie Jacks's tutorial on her German short rows to make sure that my German short row technique was the same, because sometimes people do things differently. And it was the same, so actually after watching those 2 videos and knowing the stitch count, I haven't even opened the pattern since. I got everything I needed from those 2 videos, and I've just been knitting. And I finished my first 2 skeins, and I have the third one because you need 3 skeins of each color, and I'm using the oatmeal gray color, which is a really nice neutral. It almost looks a bit marled because it has a bit of gray wool fiber in with the white, or natural white, and it's all just garter. And to start with, I divided when I cast on. I cast on 26, put a marker, 26, put a marker, 26, put a marker, so that my 260 stitches were divided into 10 sections. And I kept those stitch markers on there because at first it was just to keep count of how many stitches I cast on, so I wouldn't have to count all the time when I lost track, because I always do. But I decided to just keep those markers on because that way I divided the first half into 10 sections. So then after doing German short rows for 26 double rows, then I finished one section and then the other one, and that kind of gave me like milestones to reach. And I tried to do 1 section per day until work got to be a bit too much, and then I cast on the top instead. The first section was tough because there was a lot of stitches, but then I reached that first milestone and it got a lot better because I kind of felt like I was making progress, and for every row the row was shorter, which is quite rewarding. And then it's all just stockinette and then those slip stitches and a German short row on each side. So there's like a tiny bit of thing happening, but it's mostly just relaxing. I don't have to think, and I'm seeing progress. And I think that's kind of the hype about it, why people enjoy this so much. The yarn is an absolute joy to knit with. To me, this is very soft, but then again, I am a lover of the rustic yarns. I have heard other podcasters calling this kind of rustic and itchy, which, well, that's far away from what I'm thinking. This is soft. This is so soft. It might be that this oatmeal gray is a bit softer than the other colorways. When I'm touching it, it actually feels a bit softer. So maybe this isn't colored, because sometimes when you color yarns, they can feel a bit harder than the undyed. At least that's my experience with other yarns that I have both undyed versions and dyed versions of. So maybe that's it. I shall see when I join in the second color. But yeah, I understand now why people really enjoy knitting with it. I find it really soft, and yet I find it almost grounding. It has that natural earthy feel, but it's still like luxury and soft, and it feels really nice on the hands and to hold it. It's really comforting. And once I finish this last skein of yarn, I need to add in the second color because it's like 2 triangles combined. And I am considering using this green, which is kind of what I think I am going to do. I'll see what the color this is. So this is the juniper green. I do think that these two together will look really nice. Other options that I have is this turmeric yellow, which also would look really nice, or this kiln red. So I have these 3 options, and we shall see what I opt for. That's the reason I picked the neutral first. I could have picked the color that I was gravitating to most to at the time, which is this green. But I was thinking if I choose the neutral first, then when I have this triangle done, I can see which one of the other colors feels right to combine it with. And I have more of this neutral to make another one. so I can always make more than one. It is really comforting to knit on. And I was thinking, because I'm not really a shawl person, but we shall see. Maybe I love this so much that I will wear it all the time. We shall see. But I was thinking that this shawl would make a great baby blanket if you have any friends who have children or grandchildren or just some babies in mind. I have several friends who are expecting. This big square blanket would make a really cute, nice baby blanket if you enjoy giving away knits. It is a lot of knitting. I have a friend, her baby blankets, the favorite one that she had was not any of the intricate ones with lace motifs, but just a simple garter one, because it was stretchy and soft. She could wrap it around the baby, and because it was just garter, even though it's a lot of knitting, she wasn't as afraid of getting it dirty as the intricate lace ones. So that is something to keep in mind. If you want to knit this, but you're not a shawl person, it would be a great gift for a baby. So yeah, really enjoying it. Looking forward to see what choice of color I pick for the second one. Other than that, I have also been knitting a little bit on this sock. This is to be felted. I have made this before, and I do like a translation of the pattern at the end of episode 22, I think. It's the one where I'm wearing the Fair Isle sweater in my living room. I'm intending to make one for every family member to have at the cabin. So this is the third one I'm making, and actually I got my cousin to knit a bit on this, because sometimes when she comes over and she doesn't bring her knitting, I give her something to knit on, and this is just a great simple project to work on. So after I finish this one, I need to make another, sew the heels together, and then felt it. It's a free pattern by Sandnesgarn in Norwegian. I think it's number 3 Tove or something. I am holding this yarn double. This is Tove by Sandnesgarn. It's 100% wool, and it felts really nicely. I felt it in the machine. I just put it on like 60 degrees regular soap and not wool soap with a lot of friction, and then I check on it every 10 minutes until I'm satisfied. So that's something that's got a little bit of attention, not really by me, but a little bit by me and then my cousin. And I also have some acquisitions, but first coffee. Okay, so first off, I was sent a lovely gift from a fellow podcaster friend and Instagram friend. Her name is Amy, and she's the maker, podcaster, knitter, crocheter behind halfcaffcrochet. This is her kind of what you call a business card, halfcaffcrochet. She sent me some lovely stitch markers. She didn't make these. She sent me these from her stash. But she did make me this. So this is a uterus. It's called Childreans. So she crocheted this for me. She sells this pattern, and I think she also sells a few of these in her Etsy shop. As I am training to become a gynecologist, this is very on point for me. I was so happy when I saw this. I was just petting it. So this is a uterus with the fallopian tubes and the ovaries, and it has a cute little face. So I am going to be wearing this to work on my bag when I have long shifts, so that people can admire this lovely creation. And Amy has also generously donated a pattern for how to make this. So if you would like to crochet yourself a uterus, then you can comment below something about crochet, and you will be up for winning this in the next episode. And every woman should love their uterus. This one's cute. Not any trouble, pains, or issues with this one, which the natural one can give some people. So thank you, Amy, for this. I already showed it to my colleagues, and I think maybe some of them could be interested in crocheting one for themselves. I don't think any of them are crocheters, but this definitely is a nice incentive to try. And then I bought some yarn from Hillesvåg, 2 cones actually. This is what I was looking for online. I needed some kind of stiff linen or cotton yarn for a project that I will show you. And they had this affordable cone on their web shop of 100% linen. And then as I was on there, I saw this. This is the color Cognac. Again, the rusty tones are my favorites. Brown, red, orangey rust. So this is Cognac, and this is a yarn by Hillesvåg called Huldra Kamgarn. And I have not tried this yarn. And I think this is 250 grams. So 250 grams of a fingering weight is enough for like a t-shirt kind of thing. So in the future, I think that's what this will be. I just couldn't help myself, and it was quite affordable, so I went for it. And it's 100% wool, I'm pretty sure. This is 100% linen. This I needed for, I'll show you. So I borrowed this weaving chair for children from my aunt. It's like a miniature one, and I borrowed this from my aunt because I have a lot of scraps in my stash that I am wanting to make like either a crochet or a knitted blanket from, but I have a lot and it's building up, and I figured I needed to start using some of it, and a lot of it is fingering weight, and I'm thinking if I'm knitting or crocheting, it might be easier that everything is the same weight. So I also have a lot of bulkier and thicker woolen yarns in my scrap stash. So I saw this weave, and I asked her if I could borrow it. And my idea is I am making, I can see if I can open it up and reveal it to you guys. So far I have used up quite a bit of my stash yarns, and I'm just making random stripes with it. There is not really any thought to what I pick next. I just look at the colors that I've just done and then pick one that I think will look nice. And I'm doing uneven sizes by randomly pulling out a certain amount of yarn. So there is really no thought to it, and I think that is quite nice. It's not big because this is a child-sized loom. Looms? Do you call it loom? Weaving chair? I don't know. But it's small. But what I'm thinking is I can make more than one and then sew them together, and then I will have a rug to have in my bedroom at the cabin. So a homemade woolen rug by me using up my stash scraps, which feels really nice to do because they have been languishing for quite a bit. I am keeping them in this basket, and I've already taken out the yarns that I am using for this. In here now is a lot of fingering weight scraps, which I can knit or crochet up into a blanket. While this is using 100% wool, a mix of Icelandic from Eastex, like Alaphus Loopy and Let Loopy. I have some Canadian yarns here from Briggs & Little. I have some Norwegian yarn. This is cognac colored Tinda by Hillesvåg, my favorite. And I also have some of the leftovers from this Tove yarn from Sandnesgarn in gray that I used from the other socks that I made. Yeah. Most of the colors are the Icelandic ones, but there is a bit of Norwegian Hillesvåg yarn in here as well. And I think this will be a really nice warm rug to have on the floor, and I think it looks really cool. I don't know how it'll look when I make another one and sew them together, but it's homemade. It's part of the charm. And I'm also using the brown here is the scraps from the socks that I just made. So it's all getting used to make something that I will actually use, which feels really nice. And the fact that the yarn weights are ranging from fingering to bulky here is actually not a big problem. So I'm really enjoying this. And I did all of this in the last 24 hours, so it is pretty fast. The most time-consuming and annoying part is setting it up with the linen yarn. That gave my back a bit of pain, but it was worth it in the end. So I will finish up this first one and then hopefully find the motivation to prep it for another one. And hopefully also figuring out how to make it equally as long. Maybe I'll just make the linen strands extra long and then just stop weaving when I get to the right point. I don't know. I don't think these table looms weave set things are very expensive. I googled it here in Norway at least, and they were quite affordable. So if my aunt wants this back, maybe I'll invest in one of my own. It would be really cool to have a big one that stands on the floor, so I could make a regular size one. But I have no space for it. And also, knitting is my main hobby. This is just to use up my scraps from knitting, and it feels really good to use up my scraps from knitting, but I don't think I'll be making fabrics that will be like my new hobby. It's just really nice to use up my scraps. So an idea for you, if you have a lot of scraps lying around and you need a rug, you could make one. So yeah, a bit shorter episode this time than last time. I have a lot less acquisitions this time around, but still some decent amount of knitting. There's a lot of knitting going into the half and half wrap. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I hope you're also having a lot of fun with your knitting and that you're doing well, and I will see you soon. The winner of the patterns from last time and the coupon codes will come up shortly now with some music and a tiny bit of scenery. Not so much this time because I haven't been out as much, but hopefully next time there will be a lot for you to see. So, see you soon. Bye.